my guest, one of my guests is running just a little bit late. Mr. Cargill, he called me and told me he'd be here. He's delayed just a little. He's probably caught in Austin traffic. In the meantime, I have my other guest here today, who's not secondary in any respect. It's Alondo Waters. He's the executive director of Texas Veterans Ranch and Family Resort, Inc. And what does your organization do, Alondo?
We help veterans that suffer with PTSD. We focus on educating the family to what the veterans are going through and reuniting that family bond.
Oh, so you're an Army veteran?
Yes, sir.
Army?
Army.
Okay. And my other guest is Mike Cargill. He runs Texas Gunworks.
Yeah.
And he's a veteran also. And speaking of veterans and guns and whatnot, I guess the hot story today is, in addition to the kneeling by the athletes, we have this massacre in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Which shocked the daylights out of me.
Yeah, that's a bad one right there.
It's incredibly insane to me. Now I'm going to go out on a limb. I know they're still investigating, but I would bet. I got a nickel bet for the world that this guy's probably, I'm the raging Republican in residence. And let me see. We had a guy shoot up Alondo, right?
Yep.
That was a hot story for a little while. Then when it came out that he might have been gay and all that kind of stuff, it got kind of quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Then we had one of Bernie's people shooting at the Republican with the conservative legislators.
Yep.
And I'm putting my money on this shooter as a Democrat. I'm going out on a limb. The investigation isn't finished, and I don't care. But I'm going to say it anyway.
All right.
And if I'm right, they can. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm probably not. And everyone knows right now it's just a guess because they're still investigating. I'm here in Texas and Austin. They're in Las Vegas.
Sure.
But I'm telling you, he's probably a Democrat. He probably voted for Hillary. I'm waiting for him to pull out his voting record and everything. I want to see it all.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because even if he was, they're going to try to blame it on the right some kind of way.
Huh?
They're going to blame it on the right.
Trump did it.
Yeah.
Trump probably bought the weapons for him.
Yeah. His rhetoric has inflamed even
it's
the most passive people.
The Russians did it.
The Russians supplied him with the weapons. You understand? They paid for the room.
The Russians and Trump cooked it up, and they caused those hurricanes too, just to distract him.
I actually did hear that theory that they have a weather machine.
I believe it.
I was like, boy, they just take everything to extreme. My whole problem that I've been hearing lately it was with the national anthem though, is that they are now trying to paint anybody who stands for the national anthem is actually supporting white supremacy. That to me is the craziest thing that I've heard.
Well, anything to name call or brand Trump a racist, that's the deal.
Yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't matter how you get there. He's a racist.
Yeah.
They never talk to the man.
Don't want to talk to him. Don't want to hear what he got to say or think. And you're gonna take anything and put it in that prism because that's what they already think. They think that by any Republican president. You look go back to any president, he's always been a warmonger. He's always been unintelligent, unsympathetic, and that's just the stereotype they have for any Republican president. So it's going to fall in that. And Trump is just the epitome of he stole the election. First Bush tried to steal it, but Trump did it better.
Oh, okay.
So it's just what they're going to do and what they're going to say.
And
but the economy is doing the best it's ever done. But they don't want to talk about
well,
that.
the stock market hit a record. Well, they want to talk when Obama was in office. All they want to talk about was the stock market.
Yeah.
Now they don't want to talk about it at all.
No, you
But
don't see it on the news no more.
That's where it goes. I got to do a shout out to my friend Marjorie Malone down there in Sunrise, Florida. She finally came about underground and spoke to me. She's not paying me my money for winning the bet on Trump, but she says she just won't pay me. I said, okay. I made a bet with her when he was coming down the escalator. And she was laughing. He can't be here. I said, okay. I said, bet you $100. And she called me about 3 weeks ago. She said, I'm just not paying you for that. I said, I figured that out a long time ago already. But that's okay. But it's interesting to me how I read an article that said Nancy Pelosi says the Democrats are winning, even though they're not in power. And I haven't heard one person say the situation in the black community is getting better, but the Democrats are winning.
Yeah. Have you noticed the news in Chicago has gone quiet? We don't hear about the killings in Chicago no more. They still going on, but we just don't hear about it no more.
It is? I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
It got pretty quiet. But I just hope that I have a saying I say here on my show almost every time on. I say, I believe that what's good for the black community is good for the community.
Yeah.
Right behind my good friend who's the Nation of Islam leader here in Austin says, what's good for the black community is good for the community, and what's good for the community is good for America, and what's good for America is good for the world.
That is a true statement.
That's what he says.
Yeah.
And I agree with him. But, you know, I think what I hope is Ms. Pelosi says the Democrats are winning, but I don't know that things are getting better from an educational, political, and economic standpoint in the black community. So I don't know
if they want it to get better.
Well,
because if you're educated, that means you're going to ask questions. That means you're going to think for yourself. Then you means you can't be led. And that's not the Democratic way. I'm sorry. So I don't think they want educated people in their party. They really want people to be dumbed down, to not really understand history, not understand politics, not understand the way America's supposed to work. That way, whatever they tell them, they'll believe.
I have there's something I ran into. It's a clip, actually some poetry by Smokey Robinson. I just stumbled on that the last couple of days. I wish I had played that for this show, but I want to lead off a show with it. And talks to me. He gives a real quick thumbnail sketch of history about life really began with black people, and that I think Lewis Nye says that Caucasians are mutated. That life began in Africa, and then over the next 80,000 years, man migrated all over the globe. Mm-hmm. And because of climate and weather and other situations, that mutations developed to adapt the person to the climate. Now, my baby brother told me about some guy with several doctorates and did some study, Jop. He said that very same thing. And and I always kid some of my more conservative friends. I say, black people with pyramids, y'all were drawing stuff in caves in France and China and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, knowing, and I noticed that in education, the thing that's glossed over is ancient history, and I don't think it should be. Yeah. I remember when I took world history in 9th grade with Mr. Roach, and he was talking about the Sumerians and hieroglyphics and all that. But somehow it was not emphasized that these were people of color.
Yeah.
And I know that in the Bible it speaks about, there's one part they talk about the Sumerians, and the Jews or somebody took a route around to avoid the Sumerians. If these people have been writing and they were people of color, how if people of color built pyramids, invented writing, mathematics, engineering, how can you be inferior?
Yeah.
And I thought Jesse Owens had taken care of the inferiority argument in 1936 when he won the 100-yard dash in Munich in Hitler's face. And what was always baffling to me is the same brain that could make a person athletically superior, why couldn't that same brain make them intellectually superior?
Yeah.
And I give people credit to know what's going on. I mean, there was a reason that was once against the law to teach a black person to read.
Yeah.
I believe somebody figured out if you teach these people, they'll figure something out. And I think it was it Benjamin Banneker, the one who laid out the D.C. and Miami and all that? And he had written a long letter to Thomas Jefferson about some things. And I think that it's the fact that there were some people of African descent who did extraordinary and amazing things even during the height of slavery that should give hope to even us today. But, you know, I believe that if you believe that you're a victim, you will become that victim that you believe you are.
Oh yeah.
You know, in the good book, they teach you, as a man thinketh, so is he. So if you believe that you're a victim, you'll be a victim. Now me, I'm the son of 2 sharecroppers from Mississippi with 11 children from an all-black town. And there were 11 of us, and my mama had 8 boys, and 4 of the boys have doctorates.
Wow.
So my thing is, don't tell me about what can't be done.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. If they say with God all things are possible, is that one? Sometimes that means without God, does that mean nothing is possible?
I believe so. I believe so. I don't believe if God doesn't ordain it, I don't think it's possible. I just don't think it's possible.
I wonder when Mike's
But
going to show up.
we believe the lie that we've been told that we can't be more than what we are. That's the problem. You know, we can achieve anything we put our minds to achieve. And that's anybody. It just doesn't have to go with a certain color. But, you know, people, for competitive reasons or whatever, feel they have to be better than somebody else. You know, my race is better than yours. My class is better than yours. My car is better than yours.
Well,
But it gets you from point A to point B just like my car does. That's all that really counts. Yeah, I'm happy with my car. You be happy with your car. You know, and if everybody just respected each other and that like that, it'd be a better world.
well, the one thing that I try to work with closely here in Houston, in Austin, I mean, not Houston, in Austin is I was thinking about Houston Tillotson College, University right here in Austin. Every year they have a race unity symposium, and it's sponsored by the Baha'i Faith Church in conjunction with Houston Tillotson. And it's been going on for more than 10 years now. And there are many people here that I have met who hadn't heard about it. And I guess the main thing behind it is that we're all human. And it talks about the humanity of man.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that my brothers and sisters, many of them love to just embrace slavery like they want to be in slavery. They're still thinking about slavery instead of thinking about right now.
Yeah.
All you have is now. You can't change the past. You can take down all the statues and burn up all the Confederate flags you want. Reality will be what reality is. It's not going to change what happened. To me, in my view, the history exists for you to learn from.
Yeah.
Not for you to try to play like it didn't exist. There are things to be learned, I believe. Now, Texas Veterans Ranch and Resort, Inc., you guys, I went to a house, you guys still have that house out on, it's out by Texas Oaks?
Mm-mm. No, we never had a house. We don't have a house out there.
I thought there was a piece of property out there.
Mm-mm. No, we have no property in this area. Well, actually, we have no properties except our office building.
Mhm.
We lease every property that when we send families out to the ranches, we lease property.
Okay.
We don't have a housing project as of yet.
What kind of services does the Texas Veteran Ranch and Family Resort Inc. provide for the PTSDs?
Counseling. It's a counseling service, but it's more of a family bonding service, is what I call it. Our focus is to try to keep the family together, to remind the family of why they got together in the first place, what the sacrifices they made. So when they go out there, they can start, regenerating those good memories instead of the memories of war or the memories of just loss. And they've been separated so long, and when they come back from deployment, that most time there's a power dynamic. The wife has been used to doing things on their own. The guy's been out to war, and they really can't, shift that transition back together again.
So they have adjustment issues?
Yes.
Okay.
So we take them out to the ranch and we work with all that and just try to get them to focus on themselves again. And yeah, it's a great program. The families love it. But we had a women's empowerment program just this weekend up in Plano, Texas. That was, to me, the most mind-opening thing that I've done since I've had this organization for the last 3 years. Just hearing the stories of women who have overcome just severe adversity and still have faith in God, still are moving forward, still have that entrepreneur spirit.
These are women soldiers, ex-soldiers?
These are veterans. These are just women on the street. These are just all type of different women. We wanted to show that it doesn't take a military woman to have that type of strength. But that military woman, right along with a regular housewife, has that same inner strength in them. And if they tap into it, they could do anything. And that's our thing, to try to open up that mindset that you're not what people say that you are. You could be anything that you choose to be.
Well, that's kind of what America is supposed to be about. I post quite a bit of things on Facebook because I'm just trying to find out where people's heads are. And I saw a lot of mess on there, and I like to see the feedback that I get. But I noticed that there seems to be a prevailing mindset among African Americans generally, that 90% that vote Democrat. You know, that 90% to whom I'm an Uncle Tom.
Yeah.
But I ask them to meet me in the alley, they won't be there.
I never understood why other races can vote their political choice, but we feel that we can only vote one way, or somehow we're portraying a mindset or anything like that. Is, you know, we should it should be embraced upon us to diverse our power. You know, to have people in the Democratic Party, have people in the Republican Party, so no matter who's in charge, we have a voice. You know, and move forward collectively through both parties, and you know, have our voices, you know, in both parties, instead of just, you know, relegated to one party, where if, you know, and that party starts to take us for granted, because the first thing they say is, where they gonna go, and you hear them say that. Who else they gonna vote for if they don't vote for us? You know, that's it. So now we have no power, because we're pigeonholed into this thing where we have to vote Democrat.
Well, you know, many people behave and seem to appear to think that if you don't vote Democrat, you aren't black.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been told that several times. Just one of those things. If you question their thought process, then somehow.
Well, there's thought discrimination.
Yeah.
There's anti-thought. Really, it seems to me. But I wish that, you know, I kind of go back oftentimes to something I learned from Richard Franklin, who I met here in Austin. He says, in politics, you don't have permanent friends or permanent enemies, you just have permanent interests. And sometimes, if you look at life as a chess game, sometimes you have to make some moves that someone is not anticipating in order to advance what it is you're trying to advance.
Yeah.
But I guess my main thing, that I got from my mom and my dad was, it's on you. You know, you have to try to help yourself instead of waiting for someone to help you, especially when you're able.
Our greatest advances as black people, especially in America, has been when we went out and helped ourselves, when we did it ourselves, when we didn't wait or rely on anybody else to do it. You know, and those are the institutions that have been destroyed by those who fear us being independent, who fear that independent mindset. You know, they try to destroy that whole thought process of being independent, not having to depend on anybody, doing things for yourself, you know, investing in your own community. Those men or those entities that have tried that have come under attack, because that is not a mindset that those in power would want us to have. And that's a sad reality. And then we cower back into that mindset of, we'll just do it whatever however you want us to do it. Would give us, a portion off your plate instead of we have our own plate.
I don't know. To me, from a common sense standpoint, it makes no sense. It seems that many want to blame the white man for everything, and they expect the white man to solve everything.
Yeah. I've questioned that mentality.
And to me, it makes no sense that if someone creates a problem for you and they're benefiting from you having the problem, why should they solve your problem?
Exactly.
And I've seen, and I go back some years now, but I've seen, and I'm not saying that people think liberal-minded Caucasians. I think that they may have the best of intentions, but I always remember this old saying says, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
It is. It is. That's why I always say it takes both mindsets to come up with a great plan, because you can't be all liberal or nor can you be all conservative. It takes a little bit of both, because you got to have that feeling in it, that compassion that as they say that most liberals have of wanting to help, but then you have to have the practical way of doing it, where it actually helps the person and not hinders the person, and that's where the conservative mindset comes into play. So you gotta have both of them to really advance everybody, and no one is better than the other one, and no thought press is better than the other thought press. It takes both. Our founding fathers knew that. That's why they set up the system the way they did. It's not all one mindset. It cannot be all one mindset. It's impossible.
Well, those founding fathers were flawed men. They were imperfect men of God, as we all are.
Yes.
They had their flaws. They had their shortcomings, and I figured they operated on the best information they had at the time. There's information that they did not have that we have.
Yes.
And I believe that, people, there's a lot of talk about racism. Everybody wants to talk about it, but no one is talking about what to do about it.
Yeah, I asked a friend, what's the plan now? What's the plan after the protests? So what plan is there to move forward past this? Now that you have the media attention, what's the next step? What do you expect to get out of this? And awareness is not just, it shouldn't be the end result. They know now.
Well, I like the players because they thought racism this, racism that, and I bet you, they say about 75% of the NFL is African American. I bet you it's not 75% of the agents and the advisors.
No.
That's a bunch of crap.
Yeah.
I think.
Hey,
Mike, there's my other guest. There he is.
walk in on the stage. Come on in.
The late, great, pistol-packing Mike Cargill. Good to see you, Mike.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The other brave brother in town. He was brave enough to be a Republican. I thought when I first went to the Republican club meeting, I go to the club meetings expecting to be the only black person there. And I saw Mike. I said, "Oh, there's somebody else crazy like me."
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, Mike. Good to see you, man.
Sorry I'm late. We had a lot going on today with this shooting in Las Vegas. So a lot happening. A lot of people trying to speculate, about this guy, what type of person he was and stuff like that.
He was a Democrat. I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm not waiting on the investigation. I'm going to do like Trump. I'm just go out there and just say what I want to say.
And probably someone from Antifa or something like that.
I say, pull his voting record. Come on, CNN, pull it out.
Yeah,
Anderson Cooper, I was on your show, pull it out.
Absolutely. So a lot going on about that, and how many people died. We're almost up to 60, over 400 injured. Saying this is the worst mass shooting that we've actually ever had in the nation's history, which is probably true. But it's not going to be the worst event because people forget about Oklahoma City.
Right.
Timothy McVeigh, he killed over 168 people, injured about 600 and something people. So it's not going to be the worst event, but it's going to be definitely the worst mass shooting. But in Oklahoma City, he used a rental truck and fertilizer.
Yeah.
So he didn't use a gun. So it's really not about the gun, So, and people are coming out today talking about we need to do more gun control and things of that nature.
We need gun control for liberals. They were liberals. They were shooting at Republicans.
Well,
remember?
you can't legislate crazy, so
Yeah.
there's nothing to do with that.
And the mindset of a man, he's always going to be inventive toward something that's going to take a life.
Right.
So no matter what it is, if it's not a gun, it's going to be some other type of contraption that they're going to come up with that's going to take a life. So
Absolutely.
it's
But
just
Mike, they used to people get us confused sometimes. And I have to identify myself saying I'm Mike Lee. Say, you the gun guy? I say, no, I'm not the gun guy. This is the gun guy right here.
So you the black guy that wears the Kango. I'm the black guy that wears the red shirt. That's how we tell it. That's how we do it, right? Right. Yeah. So it's a lot. I'm also going to see what the city of Austin does, because this weekend we have ACL Festival, which is the same type of situation. You got a big, huge concert venue and a lot of buildings that are surrounding that area. I'm curious, what the city of Austin is going to do. Are they going to prohibit license holders from carrying like we're supposed to be able to at this event? Or are they going to violate the state law when it comes to license holders being able to carry? So I'm urging everyone to contact the governor's office, contact the lieutenant governor's office, and also contact the attorney general's office and let them know that we need the city of Austin to follow the state law and to allow license holders to carry at ACL Festival. Or we're going to, possibly, have something that we had in Las Vegas.
yeah. Well, I mean, even if they were carrying where he was positioned, it wouldn't have helped.
No, not at all. But here in Austin, I tell you, what you're going to have is you're going to have copycat people that are going to come out and try to do the same thing.
They're a little nervous.
Right.
You said we were in the interview before you came here, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Talking about that issue.
Talking about a little bit. I didn't touch on it like I'm touching on it right now. But yeah. So, and you're right. He was on the 32nd floor, and the SWAT team actually went to the wrong building because of the echo and everything that's going on. They're also speculating whether or not it was an automatic or something like that, which it really wasn't automatic. So, but I don't think it was automatic. I think it was more bump fire, but that's something else down the road.
I'm waiting to collect my nickel on my bet that he's a Democrat.
Oh, I'm willing to bet he's a Democrat as well.
Well, it's easy to find out because they won't announce it.
Oh, they won't announce it on CNN. They'll CNN, New York Times, and the so-called mainstream media, they'll squash that one just like they did Alondo when it came out that guy was gay. Which, and that's that's just what happened.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It takes all kinds. You can't put everybody in a box and say only this type kills.
Right.
Which was that easy.
Right.
It's not. It takes all types.
But it's usually not the law-abiding person. It's usually not that person that goes through all the trouble to do everything right, that does that.
And that's the problem.
And then a person doesn't wake up one day and decide, I'm going to kill, 60 people and injure 400 or, whatever people. Someone knew that, Uncle Johnny, was crazy. Someone knew that. You just didn't wake up one day and figure out, hey, this happened. And when they interviewed his brother earlier today, I knew something was wrong with him immediately. And then now it comes out, well, his dad was on the FBI wanted list for 8 years. Yeah, so something is going on. What happens in the dark will soon come to light.
Yeah. I know he was disgruntled with the casino about something. I heard rumors on that. So.
And you just don't get on the 32nd floor also. So you're on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay. That means that you're a high roller. You're spending money. You're sitting at the tables a very long time. So that means that, this guy was, he was pushing some coin there.
So he got some cameras, he got some footage on him.
They know a lot of information they're not telling us. They know all the firearms. They know where those guns came from. They know the manufacturer. They know the distributor. They know the gun store they went to. They know where this person got those guns from already. They knew that within an hour after, the shooting had ended. So it's just a matter of them passing that information out. Excuse me.
So they're holding up on it. I want my money. I'm gonna win the bet.
You're gonna win the bet?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. And then in the city of Austin, that's a whole nother story. With different little things they're doing here. You have I don't know if you talked about the transportation, the city bus. How someone came out and said that they don't think we can elect or nominate a black person to be head of the, our transportation here in Austin.
What?
You didn't hear that, did you? Yeah, check that out.
Not yet. Well, I know that.
Check that out.
Speaking of the city of Austin, I once served on the African American Resource Advisory Commission. I was nominated by then Councilman Don Zimmerman,
Right.
and as I guess the black sheep Republican on the commission. That was an interesting experience. You were nominated by Orr Houston to
Correct.
serve on which board was that commission?
Which was the commission to oversee the bond, the different bond and the bond election that's coming up, which is a major thing.
And they shot that down. And she got a lot of heat and flack with you.
She got a lot.
Because I think the only support you got on that on your behalf was who? Aura and
Ellen Trotzclair. That's correct. Yeah. So
because you, as do I, we work with people within the black community. I think I attended. There was something at St. James Church where you did a presentation at Aura's behest.
Right.
On the gun ordinance.
Right, and they brought that up during city council because they thought that was a really big deal. But my point there was to show people how before open carry went into effect, people are so concerned about open carry when that actually happened. They weren't concerned about the gun laws before then. So they made a really big deal about open carry. And I want to explain to them exactly what the Texas gun laws actually said and how it goes back to 1870, when it comes to like long guns. So we have what we call now a 30.06 sign, which means that a person with a license cannot conceal carry a handgun, and also a 30.07 sign, which means that a person cannot, with a handgun license, cannot openly carry a handgun. Well, at that church, they had both those signs present. So I said, so in this church, I cannot conceal carry, I cannot open carry my handgun in this church. I said, does that mean I can't bring a firearm in here at all? Because this sign here, one sign says I can't carry a handgun concealed, one sign says I can't carry that handgun openly. But what about a long gun? So that's when I asked the officer from the Austin Police Department to grab my black bag, and I grabbed that black bag and I put it on the table and I opened it up and I pulled out an AR-15 and I said, okay, is this AR-15 legal in the church? And so what people need to understand is our long gun laws go back to 1870. So that AR-15 was actually legal in the church because there's two ways they can tell me I can't carry that rifle. And that's if they tell me verbally that I cannot, which is very simple, or they post just a no firearm sign. That's all they have to do.
So Orr's nomination of you to that bond commission, the bond commission?
Mm-hmm.
So all the Democrats opposed it, right?
Correct.
And she's the only black person on the council, right?
That is correct. And so the problem that we have, in Austin is that on these commissions, you're not having representation from District 1. You're not getting all the people that are in the district are not being represented. So, and that's the number one reason why you have, the black population is actually leaving the city of Austin. They're not being represented. And a lot of them are actually conservatives, which is actually sad. They're afraid to come out of the closet, but, come on out. It's going to be all right because we're here fighting for you.
Well, I know that I do quite a bit of work on the east side. Have quite a few, met a lot of people over that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you do also. And I know that Councilperson Houston, she's been on my show, which kind of surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's as though they don't want the black population to be represented.
No, they don't.
Or they want the representation to be on their terms.
Right.
Or get your ass out of town.
Correct. They want you to
take your ass to Pflugerville. Yeah. We'll tax you right out of the city. I mean, it's basically that.
Yeah, you're right. It's a matter of they want people that don't have their own mind, don't know what they want for their community. I know what I want for my neighborhood. I know what I want for my community. I know what my neighbors want. What we don't want is we don't want this code next. I know that. We don't want our neighborhood turning into high rises with a bunch of shops at the bottom and apartments and condos up top. We don't want that for our neighborhood.
Well, it seems to me the city is being designed for two men and a dog, or two ladies and a dog. There ain't two people and a dog.
Right.
Kids are not in the equation anywhere. Schools are not in the equation anywhere except to take money. I think the school system really exists just as another mechanism to raise taxes out through the roof, so that they can bring in bicycle lanes and these high-rise complexes and these new hybrid experimental families.
Right. Right. And then they're spending a lot of money on West Austin when it comes to those schools, but in East Austin they're shutting those schools down. Where if you shut the schools down, and no matter what they tell you, they're saying they're not closing the schools down, they're actually consolidating. Well, in order to consolidate, something's got to close. Okay, so you can word it however you want to word. You can say consolidation or you can say school closure. The bottom line is they're closing schools in East Austin, and they're talking about condensing those neighborhoods in East Austin. They're talking about putting people together and putting you in these little density communities where we're going to pack you on top of each other. We're going to stick you in a high rise in apartments and condos, put little shops at the bottom, and then we're going to close the schools in the process. So you're going to have to go to West Austin to go to school. That means that now you're dependent on public transportation.
Yeah.
That is not good in Austin, which we don't want a black person to lead that. Which you need to check into that, because that came out like 2 days ago.
Well,
last
Austin's regulation of city life has been interesting since, I think, 1925 when they divided East and West.
Mm-hmm.
West was white, East was black, until they decided they wanted East too, and then they start taking over that now. Now, see, when the bicycle lanes come in, black people go out.
Right.
I mean, it's no mystery.
And
it's just that.
And I'm not going to ride a bicycle. I'm not going to bicycle it from North Austin down to South Austin where my shop is. I may do it every once in a blue moon because I'm trying to exercise, trying to lose weight, but I'm not going to do that on a regular basis. I'm going to jump in my vehicle and I'm going to drive down, down south to go to work every day.
Through all that traffic.
Exactly. So they need to focus on that. They need to focus on traffic and how they can either build a different ramps or something like that, build a road on top of I-35 or something of that nature, and stop playing around. Because that's what we need to do. People are not. This is Texas, and in Texas we don't take public transportation. In Texas we like our big vehicles, because this is Texas, the Lone Star State. This is not New York City. This is not Los Angeles where we do public transportation.
I sometimes wonder if that's genetic. They used to ride horses here. Everybody used to like to ride their horse, and they like to drive their car.
Right.
That's fascinating.
But to me, Austin is very interesting because it's supposed to be so liberal and so progressive with UT and, basically the high-tech industry here, computer industry. And, but it's as segregated and there's as much segregation here as there is anywhere, if not more. It's probably one of the most segregated cities in the country.
Right. Well, it's a city filled with NIMBYs.
But they're liberal.
You ever heard the term NIMBY?
What's that?
Not in my backyard.
Not in my backyard?
Yeah, they're a bunch of NIMBYs, not in my backyard. So, this is what I want you guys to do. I'm going to tell you what I want you to do, but as long as we don't do it in my backyard.
Now I'll voice this fear right now. I live in, not live in fear, but I fear for Houston Tillotson.
It's a dying university.
Unless
they stand up and fight.
In 40 years, it may not be here. Because number one, that property is valuable. Number two, and what I learned, and I didn't know when I first moved here. I didn't know the university was here, and I did not know it was older than UT either. But I dare say many people on the east side may not even know that. There was, and what that suggests to me was that people in the black community were doing things before everyone else, even here in Austin. But it's little noted and little known. And it should be a source of pride for us. Speaking of pride, I noticed yesterday during the football games, they're still kneeling like slaves. But I like Cam Newton. Cam Newton, he held his fist up for black pride. That's like Tommy Smith and John Carlos.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't call what that little sissy in
Doing it in the Olympics.
no, that little sissy on that was with the 49ers, Kaepernick.
Oh, Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, he discovered his afro and then decided he wants to kneel and got these other fools kneeling too.
I had a guy ask an interesting question. He said, "What's the difference between standing up for black pride and standing up for white pride?"
Well, if you're free, among a free people, like to me, I ask this question on the internet, on Facebook all the time. What do you want? I don't care whether, me personally, I don't care whether the person who happens to be white likes me or not. I want to be respected as a human and as a man.
Yeah.
I don't want your affection. I have a wife, and I've been married a year. I made a year. My wife made a year.
She survived a year.
You said that, I did. I hope she didn't bust out of control and co-sign that one.
She probably got that. She got her fist up now.
But it's like, to me, racism, for a person to be so-called racist, is just ignorance. You don't know who you have to know who built the pyramids. You have to know who that did Charles Drew did blood plasma and all that good stuff. You have to know people like Carson. And what do you want? You want I want them not to be racist. What, you gonna tell somebody how to think? If someone wants to think the moon's made out of green cheese, have at it.
Right.
You can't say no. You can't believe that. You can believe you're a horse if you want to. Yeah, I guess you got. It's okay for people to be a woman and believe they're a man, but then it's not okay for a person to believe they're better than you because of color of skin. It's crazy, but they can be. There's no obligation to be sane.
Yeah.
I've never made any claims to sanity. There are people who know me who love me say, "Michael, you crazy." And if you walk down the street and 9 people tell you you look like a giraffe, you might not like it, but you might look a little bit like a giraffe. And if over the 65 years of my life, people have told me I'm crazy when I was in my teenager, told me I was crazy when I was in college, told me I was crazy when I was in law school, I need to do it the fact I'm probably a little bit off. But that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as I function, I guess. But I just hope that I just wish that people try to come together to try to do what's good and do what's right and do what's best for the greater number of people.
That takes respect.
Without regard to affection. Yeah. And I believe that 90% that votes the way white liberals want to vote, I like you, I care, but I don't want you to like me. I don't want you. Just be you. Let me be me. Now, I have a lot of friends who happen to be white and who happen to be conservative. I don't know whether they like me or not. I never ask them because I don't care.
Yeah.
Some of them I like, some I don't like. There are black people I don't like. There are black people who don't like me. And you can see it on Facebook all the time. They can't stand my guts. And that's okay.
Yeah.
But now, my minister, he'll be on my show at some point. We've been having this not argument, we just have discussions and exchange of thoughts and ideas. And at the bottom line, it seemed like he said, Michael, I just don't see how a man can think he's better than you because of the color of his skin. You can think whatever you want. I can think right now that I'm in China, but I'm not going to be in China.
Right.
You can't dictate what to think. Not and be free.
Nah. Can't be American and then say we can't think as we want to think. That's the thing. We can persuade that person to change his mindset, but you can't force him to change it. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to force a mindset that can't be forced. We have progressed, in my opinion, through the respect that we've gained through what we've done. When our achievements have garnered our respect. not by forcing people try to respect us. That's never going to happen. Our achievements and what we do, and the fact that we've stood up for ourselves and we've tried to work through independence have gained that respect and that admiration from people and say, okay, he's just like I am. He's trying to make a living just like I am. He's trying to feed his family just like I am.
Right.
He's the same as me.
Well, it gets down to the work. It gets down to the work.
Yeah.
Not the thinking, not what you think, not what you believe, but what you do. I forget the name of that song. It says, "Nah, what you say is what you do." And as far as doing goes, there's a lot of talk that goes on. I talk on this show, run off at the mouth all the time. Mike has a show too. What's your name? Your show is Talk It, right?
Come and talk it.
Come and Talk It?
Yeah.
What made you name your show Come and Talk It?
It's a takeoff of Come and Take It.
Come and Take It?
Right. So
Oh, come get some, huh?
instead of, well, it goes,
On the flag.
so it's all about, the Alamo, the Cannon, the Come and Take It. So instead of saying come and take it, we say come and talk it.
Because it took me 2 months to come up with the right talk, man.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it took a long time.
What I did was I just went on Facebook. I said, hey, I need a name of a gun talk show. Y'all help me out. Give me a name. And so they came back with all these list of names, and I picked that one. Come and talk it. And that's what we ran
Was
with.
Make My Day in there?
No, we did it like it was all in one night.
I had a hat. I stopped in this little town in Texas called Cut and Shoot, Texas.
Uh-huh.
And I just stopped there because the name
that's a crazy time.
I said Cut and Shoot. And I just got out the car. I said, I want to get out here and Cut and Shoot, Texas. So I can tell somebody. I went to Cut and Shoot, Texas. And I bought a hat there, kind of like your veteran's hat. It said, Make My Day or something. With a gun on it.
That's it.
That's too much.
So you didn't get to get on that board, huh?
No.
Democrats shot you down, huh?
No, did not. They said no, and it's funny because I ran into Council Member Pio, whatever one he calls himself, at an event. As a matter of fact, at Houston Tillotson, and so I walked up to him and I shook his hand and I wanted him to know, just so you know, I'm Michael Cargill. I'm the one that you were talking about on the dais. So because you never met me before, but now you've met me. And so after that event, he booked right on out the door. So they sit there and think they're gonna, have, talk all that crap about you and think that they're not gonna ever see you. But I'm gonna make sure they all see me. I follow them around all the different little events that they're at. Make sure you see my face.
I think it took a bit of courage for Orr to even nominate you.
Yeah. Well, it's about the people. It's about transportation. It's about the bonds and stuff like that. It's about traffic. I would actually serve 12 years in the Army, and I was a transportation, specialist in the Army. I know transportation. I was in charge of transportation for the United States Army Band in the military. So I can move, things from point A to point B, and I know how to get things moving. So that's what it was about. And also, I'm a business owner. I own my own business. I've owned several businesses. I've owned a transportation company before I started, before I opened the gun store. So when it comes to business, I can actually conduct business. I've conducted, successful businesses. So we can get this city moving. And there are a lot of things that we can do. One, there are things that we can do with 183 that they're always slow to do. They're starting to take some of my suggestions right now with widening 183 a little bit, so which is good. Now there are things that we can do with the toll road. Because that's backing up at times also.
Yeah.
Which
That's
people
crazy.
don't realize.
Paying for a toll and he backed up.
Yeah. Which is insane. So there are things that we can do, to get this city moving.
But you can't be on the commission.
But I can't be on the commission. So, which means that I can't be on the commission. They don't want to hear what I have to say. Then I guess the city of Austin, needs to give me a refund on my, taxes that I'm paying. I don't have any input in what goes on in this city.
But I think it's shameful how they treat the black community in that respect.
And that's what
I think it was shameful I think it took a lot of courage for Orr to step out there and nominate you. But I think it's a shame and a tragedy, and I think it's a statement about Austin as to the fact that you were not able to be seated on that commission.
And that is why, on a national level, blacks are leaving the Democratic Party on a national level. And that is why here in Travis County, they're leaving the Democratic Party. There are leaders that are leaving. I've had leaders in the Democratic Party that are community leaders that are African American here in Austin reach out to me, want to come over to the Republican Party.
Really?
This is major. Yes, and this is happening. And so they continue to do things like this, and this is what's happening. You're going to have more blacks are going to leave the Democratic Party, and they're going to go to other parties.
Well, I know that, who was it? That ran a Libertarian, Flash?
I don't know who that is.
Flash, yeah, I think Gordon. Mm-hmm. I got to get her on, too.
Yeah. So, yeah, you just definitely, they need to make some changes. If they don't make those changes, that's what's going to happen. That party's going to shrink, and that's why they lost their last election.
So how's the gun business, man?
Gun business is great, especially today.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I heard sales went up. Yeah, sales went up.
Oh, yeah. So,
Gun sales went up?
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Every time there's a mass shooting. Sales, classes, everything goes through the roof. My website, we were busy all day long, just through the roof. Phones wouldn't stop ringing because people see that they're, my goodness, I'm here, in the middle of nowhere, and anything can happen. Even though there's probably not a whole bunch they can do, which they still don't know even right now if the people that were on the ground who were firing back, if one of them didn't hit the guy, because that's a possibility too. So they haven't come out with that yet. Right now, they're speculating he may have killed himself, or the people that were on the ground that were firing back on the 32nd floor, they might have shot him.
Okay.
So
That's a 1 in a million shot, though.
right, well, hey, remember what happened with the APD officer that was holding the horse, good little ways away, and the guy that was firing shots with the AK-47 at the APD building, he was holding the horse with one hand, he fired the shot with one single hand, and ended up shooting and killing the guy.
Okay, no, I didn't know about that.
Oh, yeah. So it's shooting is a very easy concept. I always tell my students, it's very easy for me to teach you how to shoot and kill someone. That's the easiest thing in the world for me to do. I can take 5 minutes and teach someone how to shoot and kill someone, but it takes the entire day for me to teach you how not to pull that gun out.
Mm-hmm. And the classes that you have, they last all day?
The handgun license course, it's a 4 to 6 hour course. So it actually starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, goes until 4 p.m. You're actually in the classroom from 10 a.m. to 3, and we're going over all the laws of the state of Texas, where you cannot take that handgun, and what you cannot do. We go over a lot of different scenarios. I yell, I scream, I show them a lot of different videos of different scenarios, and I ask them what would they do if they were in that situation. And then at the end, I'll tell them exactly what they just watched, what they just saw.
Yeah, my wife was talking about buying a gun, but that scares me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have as long as you behave, you don't have any problems.
I talked to my daughter about getting a gun, just because she's a single mother. She lives up there in the Dallas area, and
In plain old Texas?
I told her it's a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, you definitely take a beginner class, learn the basics about that firearm and stuff like that, and then then take your handgun license course. And absolutely, and practice. Definitely practice.
That's what it takes. A lot of people don't take that step right there to practice. They just get the license, put the gun up, then think when.
But we don't have a lot of problems with people missing. It's not issues with people missing.
Oh, I had about 4.
Yeah, so on the radio show, we talk about a lot of gun stuff. We talk about gun laws, talk about conflict resolution, same thing we do in the classes and stuff like that. We talk about all the different news around the country and the world that relate to actually gun stuff. So.
Yeah, I got a couple of minutes to go, and I want to thank my guests for showing up today, especially Mike, even though, because I know he had an interview before he came over here.
I appreciate it.
When all the shooting going on, you're going to be in great demand. But don't sell my wife a gun.
Okay.
Please don't. I might have to put you down as an accomplice.
Oh, my goodness.
But I want to thank you, gentlemen, for appearing on my show today, and I hope that you will consider coming back again. Maybe Mike can be on time next time. Who
Yes.
knows? But a special shout out again to Marjorie. I'm disappointed you won't pay me the money because I won the bet, you know. But I know you voted for Hillary. It's okay. You'll be all right. But thank you. I want to thank you, gentlemen, for being on my show, and I want to thank my audience for joining. And I hope that we can do this again sometime, gentlemen.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you.